Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Empires and Puzzles video. In this one, we're obviously going to be looking at the Soul Exchange. If you've ever wondered what Empires and Puzzles would be like with way more quality of life features, a dev team that listens to player feedback, and more value for your money spent, then download Gemstone Legends right now from the links in the description of this video to get yourself a free $50 starter bonus. I know it can be intimidating to start a new game like this, but between myself and other great content creators, there are tons of tutorial videos out there to make playing Gemstone Legends a lot of fun. The fact that they offer a $50 starter bonus to new players and have such great quality of life features are two big reasons why over 50,000 Empires and Puzzles players have already made the switch. It's awesome, and I look forward to seeing you there. Many of you have probably made your decisions already. I always think it's better to take your time and think about it. This game has such an interest in creating urgency on all of us. Oh, this is Portal's happening now. This is expiring today, and I think it's just nice to oppose that and take our time a little bit. So, anyways, that's where I'm coming at this from. As usual, let's go through in order from 10 to 15 to 20, and I'll try to give my pick for each one in the row. Something that's really important to keep in mind for yourself is what level are you trying to play the game at, because after the big balance update that they did and everything that has happened since then, stats are almost the most important thing. Stats happen to also come hand in hand with better and better special skills that are more and more dominant. The reason why I say almost the most important thing, because in the Hero League we're seeing bonuses of up to 190% being offered for 3-star heroes that are of the right family and of the right class. And I haven't had a hard time beating any of those, even when they're double limit broken up to plus 25 with a huge stat boost, because the special skills are lagging. But as new heroes come out, you get both the stats and the special skills. So the reason why I mention that is because if you're trying to go against the top peak teams, you're going to need to factor stats into your choice here. If you're at a more casual level of play, you have a little bit more leeway in deciding what matters to you. So just wanted to say to keep that in mind, because some of these heroes were at one point very dominant, but now the stats are so dated that they would not perform at a high level, because, as we know, attack stat of your attacking hero and the defense stat of the hero you're attacking are important. If the defense stat is extremely high, your attack is going to scale down pretty dramatically. All right, with that out of the way, let's get going here. So, I remember when this guy came out, slow, really hard-hitting sniper. Kind of an interesting idea, very appealing for rush, not something I would ever bring in a raid, because it's too inconsistent at slow speed. Again, I'm not going to look at all the family bonuses and passive, so make sure to check those out. Some of them, like this one here, are quite good. The soft skin, damage reduced by 90% 5 times after firing, is very strong, so that will factor in. This video is going to be really, really long if I take all that into account. So, slow speed deals 850% damage to the target. That might still be the strongest snipe in the game that I know of. If the target is less than 50% health before receiving damage, then they're probably going to be dead. Targets another enemy who had less than 50% health before receiving damage. If no other enemies have less than 50%, damage is targets a random enemy. Damage is reduced on each consecutive hit. Enemies can only be hit once. If the enemy uses their special skill in the next 3 turns, they receive 1,080 poison damage over 5 turns. Uncleansable. Pretty fantastic. A great finisher if you got like in rush, for example, if you've got a trio of purple heroes, 2 hit alls that can lower them down to 50%, you can probably kill the entire team if you factor this guy in. So, not to be slept on. That damage is incredible. Stats are decent. The attack stat, at least 1600, is pretty decent. 1324 is definitely what I would call on the squishy side now, but yeah, very appealing. But again, only for rush, really, unless you have I can't remember who all the mono boosting heroes are these days, but it used to be this Nullfod, and you could then make this guy functionally fast speed, and that would be pretty strong. All right, but that would also limit your stack. If you're trying to have 2 hit alls and then him as the finisher, if you need to have a mana booster as one of your purples, then it's not going to work. Okay, Hero of the Month deals 330% damage to the target and nearby. Stats are lower than who we just looked at. Target and nearby are immune to status effect buffs for 4 turns. Caster and nearby get plus 50 critical chance for 4. And kind of a useless element link. So that would be good at fast speed. At average speed, that's a significant cut. And with the stats being lower, less interesting, but fighter class and average speed versus slow is a bit more usable than who we just looked at. Carmenta never materialized, but was a very intriguing hero to me when she came out. Spreads all of the target's cleansable status ailments to nearby enemies first. Duration is reset. Deals 495% damage and minor damage to nearby. So one really cool synergy that I thought of, and probably many other people did as well, is what's his name? Her name, Tetashiri, I think. 5-star, hit 3, does defense down to the center. Fire that first. She spreads the defense down to the rest of them, and then boom, comes in with a pretty decent hit. But average speed and fast speed for the synergy is not the greatest combination, so I don't know. I never leveled mine personally. So keep in mind that the only reason I would suggest taking her is if you're going to utilize that synergy in some way. There's not many heroes that can apply defense down before they're hitting. She's doing that in the synergy with Tetashiri. Because one of those heroes has the cleansable status ailment. Okay, next up, Tinsel. Very outdated at this point. Those stats are atrocious right now. 1,000 defense and 2,000 HP is very squishy. Fast speed deals 340 to the target and nearby. Decent, but again, that attack stat is quite low. Summons an elf fiend with elf minion for caster nearby with 10% HP. Target and nearby enemies get minus 14% defense and a further minus 5% defense per each ice shield on the board for 4 turns, up to minus 54. And to get that, you need to have 8 shields on the board. Target and nearby enemies get minus 10%, a further 5, up to 50. So that you would need 10 shields on the board. So very hard to maximize that after charging up your heroes. Like, you would probably on average expect to find 3 to 5 shields left on the board after charging, and it could be less, could be more, but that would be an exceptional board. It'd be more likely to be less. So let's just look at that real quick. If we had 3, that's minus 29% defense. Not super impactful. So this would be a hero only to take if you are at a pretty casual level of play, and heroes like this are still competitive. And just keep in mind, we're looking at double limit broken stats, so you'd have to factor in actually doing that. I'm not sure if that would be a priority for everyone. All right, Hullstone. Just want to mention you've got this repair core, which is one of the better parts of the abilities. If he, based on their current health, so kind of runs a check on everyone on your team, and based on their health, it determines what they get. Full HP, you get plus 50% attack for 3 turns, plus 30% defense. Not very good for an average speed special skill. Above or equal to 50, plus 50% defense for 3 turns, plus 34% mana generation. Okay. Below 50%, then you're finally healing, but it's a heal over turn. Plus 50% defense and counterattack. So I don't like these situational heroes. You don't know what they're going to do. You need to calculate quickly what HP you're at to determine, or at least look visually to see where you're at to determine if this is going to be what you need, or if you want to wait a turn. Not a fan. So of this row, I'd say for 10 heroes, which is the smallest investment you can make here, the circled hero would be great for rush. I don't know that I'd spend 20 heroes on someone to use in just part of the the available game, but for 10, that could be appealing if the ones at 14 and 15 aren't going to do anything that you need, or you have them already, or something like that. All right. So next up, costume Bastet. So this is where stats matter a lot. And this is actually an interesting intersection between stats and special skill. Originally, this hero had a pretty soft special skill, kind of popped up for a while, but like this is fucking insane. This costume bonus for Season 5 is significantly better than the one for Season 2, despite the stats baseline being higher. So I don't know why they did that, but they did. And yeah, so I do want to look at the passes real quick, so let's try to be quick here. Fast speed, great. 210 to all, pretty low by these standards, but again, you have quite high stats. All allies get plus 45% chance to dodge. For 3 turns, each dodge gives a defense stack. That is pretty decent, but not incredible. 50% chance to perform the following actions. Deals 70% damage with a good attack stat is nice. Dispels the latest dispellable buff from all enemies. That's quite good, especially because you have this. When the character casts their special skill, any of their passive skills that grant extra effects on cast have 3 chances. So that means the dispel is almost a guarantee. I'd say this going off once is very common, twice happens a decent amount, 3 times doesn't happen very much, but it can happen. So the one question I have is, since there's a dispel in there, if this goes off once, does it dispel taunt and then goes off again and can dispel things that were hidden behind taunt? I'm not sure, but that would be a question to answer, because that's got some pretty appealing stuff going on here to make up for the lower damage. Character gains 5% mana when they receive a status ailment or negative stack. Okay, 5%. Not that great, but more likely to keep dodge online more often of the time and building up defense stacks, which when you're in a stat war, which we are now, 10% is already 100. Well, this is before troops, so it's probably already 200 more defense per dodge, so you're not taking damage and you're taking less the next time because of that. All right. Again, stat-wise, I cannot advocate for this hero at 15. It was once very dominant, but you need to have the right synergy to trigger what's going on here, so let's look at that. 500% damage to the target and minor to nearby. Target and nearby get minus 48% attack for 3 turns. If the effect is removed, target with the effect suffers 788. So this was like the Equalizer War pain in the ass type hero, because it just getting cleared screws you over. There's a lot of safe cleanse heroes out there now, so that really lowered the competitiveness of this hero in addition to stats. So again, you've got to be at a casual level of play if you're going to take this hero and have the right synergy. I would not do this just for Equalizer personally, but you could. All right, Brimstone. Again, we've got a destructive core there, so factor that in. Deals 200% damage to all enemies. Summons a fiend with 80%. That deals 80% attack and absorbs 35% health. The fiend gives minus 54% defense against fire as long as the target has fiends. So that's pretty good, and you get defense against ice. I don't know how much that's going to come up, but it definitely could help you because it's a significant amount. I might have said all enemies, but I meant to say all allies. So average speed, kind of weak damage, but think of the fiends as additional damage in a sense, because if they're absorbing 35% of a heal, that is kind of like the equivalent of doing that as damage, because you are siphoning off some of that healing, which is similar to if you had just damaged the hero more and now they have further up to heal. You're just kind of absorbing some of this. So yeah, that's pretty decent. Again, you need the right synergy. This is a setup hero, not one that you're... this is one that's going to empower other red heroes with the decreased defense against fire. So yeah, pretty decent. I'm not sure what my pick's going to be in here yet. All right, very fast speed, a low 185. We've got pretty good stats. Defense is a little low, HP is competitive, attack is, again, a little bit behind, but not bad at all. All enemies get minus 30% defense against ice for 3 turns. That's a bit low. Like, very fast makes it tempting, but you've got low damage, low defense. I'd rather have a fast speed hero that does more. And they're just a little bit harder to charge. All enemies receive frost damage over 3 turns, 558. So, could you make this work? Absolutely. Is this what I would gravitate towards? Probably not. And I haven't made up my mind yet on who I'm going to take. Stats here with Relius, definitely on the low side in the 1300s. Workable, definitely. Super competitive, definitely not. Average speed, recovers 30% health for all allies. That's pretty low for non-boosted health, but that's, I guess, to balance out the 40% revive chance. They're revived with 30% HP. The heal has already gone by at that point, so if you do revive someone, they're coming back at 30. There's no heal for them. All allies get Moonrise Ward for 4 turns, which is nice. Reduces damage up to minus 800. Reduces damage by an additional 30% when the attacker is of the holy element. One really nice thing. This is not what I was thinking of. I meant the family bonus, but reduces the amount of mana gained by special skills by minus 80%. The effect applies to all enemies, so that's a little nice bonus. But here, all receive mana status ailments, which is like, I can't remember the full list. I remember there was one exception, but I'm always unclear which one it was. There's like silence, there's mana stop, there's mana absorption, all kinds of things. I think even Lepiota was blocked with the abyss thing, but I can't remember. So this blocks most of those. And not only does it block it, but it gives a buff as a result. So that's pretty good for a reviver. There's much better revivers out there now. I've never been a big fan of the whole reviver thing. So can it work for you? Yes. Is it my preference? It is not. So, but yeah, that's probably definitely one of the better heroes in this category. I don't know how to rank them entirely, but I think I would go here. Stat-wise, you're going to be more competitive. Dodge is great. Defensive stacks are great. You've got a Dispel in there. You've got the potential for extra damage here with this passive. And, some extra stuff. So, stat-wise, very competitive. That's probably my pick here, even though I don't love the hero. All right, last category. 20. Acid Fire. Stats again, pretty weak. You got a decent attack stat, less decent defense, and kind of poor HP. So fast speed, 355 to the target and nearby. They get minus 225 attack and defense as Wither. Target and nearby enemies reflect status effect buffs to a random character on the opposing team for 3 turns. Kind of annoying. Not what I would pick for a competitive roster. Not that that's what the Soul Exchange is geared towards, but gotta mention it. All right, Lazara. Stats a bit better. Not great. Average speed. Safely cleanses all status ailments from all allies. Nice. For an attacker, that's nice to see. Deals 325 to all. Decent damage with that attack stat. All enemies get minus 50% decrease for any healing received for 4 turns. All enemies can't get their status ailments cleansed or reallocated for 4 turns. Pretty solid. I want to check these real quick, so I can't remember what they are. Mana buff. So receives a mana buff of plus 24% when there's a status ailment or negative stack on this hero. Health boost on attempted. When an ally attempts to cleanse by using special skills, all allies receive boosted health. That's awesome. All allies. So really got a team player here. Safe cleansing with damage and healing, and quite good. When an enemy attempts to cleanse by special skill, all enemies receive 300 damage. Or all enemies receive 300 damage. Only once per turn. Yeah, so pretty solid. Doesn't really excel at any one thing, but does a lot of things. And does a lot of things passively, unlike Hullstone, where you're like, what's going to happen? Is this the right time to fire? Like, this stuff's just working in the background for you. All right, Lodius, a hero that I do have. Decent stats, but on the lower side for sure. Very fast speed, Moonrise Strike, up to 2200 damage, but again, because of the lower attack stat, you're probably never going to see that against meta heroes, so don't expect that, and it can be quite low. But 40% more against holy targets, never misses its target. If the target is defeated, the nearby enemies are unable to gain mana for 3 turns, so that part is really nice, and I have relied on that in a number of situations. This used to be part of my best team, but again, stats fell behind and it just wasn't punching through anymore. All allies counterattack with 60% of the damage received for 3 turns. So that's really a lot going on for very fast speed. This is a hero that I'd say is decently competitive, or is quite competitive if you're at a more casual level, like is a great hero to use. If you're in the meta, this is going to be disappointing. Just hitting 1, not that hard. And doing some of these other things, I don't think that's enough. But if you're a little more casual, this is a great choice, especially at very fast speed. All you need is a level 11 mana troop. Of the classic one, I forget how much mana boost that is, 9%, 7%, something like that. And you can charge with 2 matches, 6 tiles. All right, Starwalker was at one point an absolute all-star. They're featured in Black Friday or something like that. Fast speed, never misses the target. 200 to all. Deals additional 450 damage if the target has boosted health. Okay. Interesting that does not scale with the amount of boosted health. With a lot of those, you see a little question mark box that says that it does more if they have more boosted health. That is not the case here. So if they only have a tiny bit, you get to maximize this. If they have a ton of boosted health, at least you're getting some extra still. All enemies get minus 35% defense for 3 turns. If it is removed before the duration ends, they get 828 damage. So similar to Erlang Shen, bit better stats, but still not that good. These passives are pretty interesting, so check those out, like this one in particular. Makes it kind of difficult to kill them, but you can use that against them as well, the chain damage. So it wouldn't be my recommendation, but is something interesting to consider. Again, pretty good for Equalizer, but that's not happening all that often. Garten. Average speed. Boosts all allies' health by 700. Reduces max health of all enemies by 700. Stronger against boosted health. There's the question mark I was talking about. Max health can't go lower than 30. Any boosted health is reduced by an additional 700. So up to 14, which is pretty amazing if they have any boosted health. Max health, that's like you're healing and doing the equivalent of a lot of damage. That's pretty exceptional. All allies except the caster receive soft skin. All allies are immune to new status ailments that affect healing only for 4 turns. Remove status effect ailments that affect healing from all allies. That happens after the heal. So if you have a total heal block up, you're not going to get any healing, but you won't get hit with that same one again. So the order of that could have definitely been better. But this is a good healer, and I'm kind of tempted to go for a second one. I have one of these already. Stats are decent. I would say still in the lower side of competitive based on how quickly those are climbing. For casual, great hero. Someone on our team pointed out that this is a great hero to go with the Insanity hero Atwood, because the soft skin blocks the Insanity or something like that. So that's a pretty powerful synergy. I'd say the Insanity on caster for those heroes is a big balancing factor. If you can block that, you're taking advantage of something good there, so keep that in mind. All right, so of this category, at the lower competitive level, I'd be tempted to say Lodius just because of the ease of charging. You can fire them more often. Counterattack kind of helps weaken your team if they're coming at you too heavy. You can, if you have a good enough synergy, you can get the mana block on certain heroes, which can really help you gain some momentum. If you need a great healer, I would say Garten is a great healer. With the soft skin, I still use this hero in wars all the time. And I do try to plan accordingly with the soft skin to minimize some of the bigger hits that might come at me. So that's definitely the best choice for healer in here. And then all-arounder, I would say Lazara. I don't love depending on average speed. There seem to be a lot more average speed heroes entering the game now, and even slow speed. Like, we've hit a slow meta. It used to always be like fast and very fast meta. Now we got slow and very slow heroes that are just so crazy tanky that they have plenty of time to charge. So yeah, that would be my other pick. The two fast speed heroes you could definitely make work. So again, as always, factor this into what it is that you need. But those are my thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you happen to know the answers to any of the things that I wasn't sure about. Please leave those in the comments down below. Hit the like button and subscribe if you want. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.